Guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends where you are in the world. How are we all today?
Yeah, we're good. I'm
Good.
good.
We've got
All good.
good. We've got a great show lined up today. But just quick before we can kick off, let's just do a quick round of introductions. We've got Darren from Elevate Online Marketing. Hi, Darren. How are you?
Hi, very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and the brands and the businesses that you work with as well.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to sort of brands, we typically work with mid-level brands. So I suppose turnovers from around sort of 3 million to 30 million a year. And within that, we specialize in bringing traffic to their websites, be it via PPC, Google Ads, or organic search engines. And, we work very closely with either in-house marketing teams, and if they don't have a marketing team, which is a bit rare at mid-level size firms, we actually become that team for them. So it's been a great sort of 9 years now, and things are looking good. And we're just looking forward to getting to know more partners that we work with, and building our own reputation. And that's what I do, and that's what I'm doing now is trying to find partners that we can buddy up with and make our own solutions more viable, so we can offer the best service possible.
Sounds good. Thanks. And you guys work together, don't you? Yourself and Tom, I believe.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Yes. Tom, without making him go red, is one of the sort of top companies that I've ever experienced when it comes to certainly e-commerce solutions. And when we're dealing with the thousands and thousands of pounds worth of clients' money, the last thing we want is for them to spend it, go to a website that looks terrible, and the conversions go down. So with Tom and his team, we're always confident that when they do get to that end cycle, they see the site, they see the products. It's basically everyone's golden. And Tom and I have now built a very strong relationship over the last certainly over the last year.
That's good. Yeah, there's no point having a great team to push a brand online with all the marketing side of things. When the user then gets to the website, the whole experience is just awful. You need to have both in line, otherwise it's just a waste of time, isn't it? As you say.
It is, and we've had some difficult conversations where we just simply can't take on the work until that stage is actually at a completion that we believe is right and fit for purpose. So thanks. Absolutely.
Thank you, Darren. The main man himself, Tom. Then you've got a great.
That's a hell of an introduction. That's not a bad way to start.
It's not. No.
Yeah, we're Squash Pixel. We've been going. In fact, we're 15 this year, so this is our 15th year, which is it's quite a nice milestone to hit. We're very much kind of e-commerce focused, particularly on Shopify. We do a lot around Shopify websites, kind of the email marketing and that side of things. We don't have in-house kind of SEO and the PPC side of things, and that's where we kind of partner up with people like Darren who kind of look after that side. So we focus a lot on kind of those relationships ourselves as well, just making sure that what's happening off-site reflects on-site, and that kind of consistency between the two works really well. In terms of the businesses we work with, it's quite an eclectic mix, you could probably say. We've not kind of tied ourselves down to one particular industry. So it's everything from florists to fashion. We've got clients selling things as exciting as sellotape and plastic bags, right through to adult toys and sort of everything in between, really.
Wow, okay.
The sizes tend to be more towards that kind of higher end. So it's people turning over. We work with a few startups, but they tend to be sort of SMBs to kind of multi-million sort of multinationals as well, so kind of everything in between. Because we've been working with Shopify since 2008, 2009, we kind of know the platform pretty much inside out by this point. So yeah, we focus a lot more on the solutions and those creative ways of kind of making stuff work rather than the purely kind of superficial side of things.
Great, thanks. And when we spoke, Tom, a few weeks ago, I think I heard it correctly, but you're one of the first partners in the UK to adopt Shopify. Was that correct?
Yeah, so we were very early on kind of jumping across to Shopify, and I think we started using Shopify before the partners program even kind of existed. So we were there sort of right at the start when that was all kind of being formed, really. For me at the time, it was brilliant. I think at that point, we'd only just started Squash Pixel, or we're just about to start Squash Pixel. So having something like Shopify that handled all the PCI compliance and took all that kind of paperwork element out of it was brilliant. Payment gateways were kind of one-click integrations, even back then, which was almost kind of unheard of. And it was, yeah, as a designer, it was a great way to kind of work without getting too bogged down in the technical at that point.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you for that, Tom. And Derek, nice to have you
Hi.
on the session. So introduce yourself and your company and what you do.
So I'm Derek, and I'm CEO and co-founder of NestScale. Actually, it's like a little bit different to you guys that we are quite new. So NestScale was just established in 2022, so just more than 2 years now. And also we have several solutions on Shopify App Store, and our future picture is like we try to create an ecosystem for Shopify merchants to optimize every touch points they need, like customer service, email marketing, and advertising too. But actually, for now, when we realize that one of the most interesting markets right now in marketing market now is attribution software. So our strategic app now is NestAds, which is an attribution software. So really feel really interested to spread the solution to you guys and also Shopify merchants, agency around the world about the solution too. Yeah.
Thank you, Derek. So just thank you very much as well for everyone that's tuned in this morning. If you've got any kind of comments or questions for Derek, Darren, or Tom, just leave a comment in the box below, and we'll do our best on our session now to answer them for you. If we're not sure of the answer, what we'll do is one of them will just come back to you and kind of go from there. But as the title says, this session is about how brands can achieve a better ROAS, really. So let's kind of kick off with some kind of questions. And from your experience, what is the current ROAS for a typical brand that you work with?
That's an excellent question, because clients now, they Google this because of the terminology. So the first thing they do themselves is really, what's a great ROAS? And Google spits out along the lines of a percentage. 280% ROAS is a good return, or 300% is a good return. Basically, what that means to the layman is for every £1 you spend on advertising, you want £3 back, and that's the 300%. Now, that's fine, but actually that's not the case, because what they're not taking into consideration is things like what is their profit margins. So it's not just a purely simple basis of £1, £3, but also, what is their delivery? What outside in their systems are they paying out? So when we chat to our client base, we say, look, 300% or £1 for free is your typical answer from Google, but in reality, you've got to take stock of your own outgoings. How much is it going to cost you to get that product or service to the client? So with that in mind, it could depend. It could fluctuate from a £1 or for a £1 spent, £5 return. So 500% ROAS is a typical scenario which fits the majority, but we've seen it go all the way up to 900 to 1,000%. And again, I must stress this, it's based on the amount of profit within the solution or service that they are actually selling online. And it is a bespoke solution. So each individual client we deal with has their own individual ROAS. So we go through it and we break it down into what we call sort of common sense, as opposed to just numbers. And it works well with that in mind. So we set expectations, they understand, and our team, or my team, work diligently to get to those numbers.
Thank you, Darren. Do you think it's like a typical category of brand that the ROAS is perhaps lower or higher, maybe. So maybe if it's like for a furniture seller, is the ROAS a lot lower, or is it higher? If they're selling quite expensive furniture, maybe, and the delivery charge is way more than a pair of socks. Is that something that you kind of come across, or is it kind of across the board?
Sorry, for me to answer?
Yeah,
Derek,
and anyone,
sorry,
I guess. Yeah, but Darren, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, so another good question, because then it all really boils down to the competition. So if, let's say, for example, you're dealing with a very high value bespoke furniture company that only deals with a particular wood in a particular forest in a particular part of the world, so it's absolutely unique, then you can expect the ROAS to be a much higher return because the competition isn't out there. But if you're trying to, and we do have this, we have clients that are competing with sort of broad furniture companies, so pine, teak, oak, standardized stuff, that's where the margins are so much smaller. And that's where we really have to sort of be objective into, look, a client's going to come along, they're going to look at your product, but there may well be 7, 8, 9, 12, 20 other companies with similar products. That's where the ROAS is reduced. So it's really competitive or competition led. Where are you in the market? If you're at the top of your game and people know that football stars go and buy stuff from them, or the king has bought something from them, you're going to find your ROAS is going to be much higher. So yeah, we deal with the where are they in the market, and that's really dictates what your ROAS would be overall, or what we would aim to achieve.
I think the value of that product has a massive impact as well, though, because we see it from a conversion rate point of view. So if you're buying a pair of socks, the chances are you'll click on a link, you'll see the socks, you like them, you buy them. It's 7, 8, 20 pounds. It's kind of an impulse purchase. But for something like furniture, you might not be talking sort of an immediate purchase. They might click on the ad, look at the product, go away, look at a few other sites, come back a few days later. There's like a multi-step kind of process to it. It's not a one click and purchase. There's a bigger picture you've kind of got to take into account, and that's where you start looking at things like email marketing, lost the word, remarketing and all that side of things as well. So it's kind of multi-touch points along a longer journey rather than just one quick give them an offer and kind of check them out then and there.
Yeah. There's actually, that's a very good point Tom raises, because we deal with a national care company or a living care company, and their ticket pricing starts off probably at £20,000 to look after somebody within their home. And yeah, you're quite right. Their journey is very long. They will come along, come to the system, potentially put in a request for further information. And those particular elements are a lot harder to judge, in the sense of, did they get the business? That could be months down the line, in fact. So yeah, I agree, Tom. If you're selling small, sort of cheaper items, which again are quite, not unique, but certainly well branded on a good website, such as what Tom would produce, then yeah, absolutely agree with you, Tom.
Derek, have you got any comments to add?
Actually, I have the same experience with the furniture market, because I have talked to a client before about they have actually not furniture, but the related market around that, and they have the very long customer journey before they finally take a purchase. So sometimes they see the return on ad spend is not too high. Sometimes it's just around 2 or 3. But sometimes they can feel that the return on ad spend can be up to 5 or 6 at some time. But that is why they inspire us, and they come to understand how their users and their visitors come to their website, and how they take action, and finally how long they finally take a purchase, instead of just some 7 days or just 40 days window. So yeah, the same experience with Darren and Tom.
I think you mentioned as well, Darren, that if you're competing as well if you're competing in a market that's very, very competitive, it's so tough, isn't it, for brands as well, that people are going to shop around. So they'll go, let's say furniture, for example, they go to Argos, they'll go to maybe Homebase, they go to other websites because all they've got to do is punch in the model and off they go. So it must be so tough for certain brands selling certain items. I don't envy them at all, really. But you're right. But if you're selling something bespoke and there's very few of them, that's the way to go, isn't it? I think, especially on the furniture.
Yeah, I think the way you kind of treat the landing pages and the ads is probably slightly different in both cases. For like those lower value items, I'm guessing, Darren, that it's more like the shopping and those kind of quick links, and it's more about value and kind of offer driven kind of purchases. Whereas those high value ones, there's probably the ads are probably targeted slightly differently, and the landing page is certainly, as much as you've kind of got the products on there, there's probably a bit more information, a bit more brand building, a bit more emphasis on things like reviews and building up that confidence. So it's even though you're selling the table that other people might be selling, you're almost kind of pushing yourself as a brand and a company as well to set yourself apart. So it's not just a table. You're buying the table with the quick delivery and the good service and the good follow up afterwards. It's those additional services you need to start sort of upselling on the site as well, I think.
Yeah, sorry,
Darren. I'll let you speak.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, funnily enough, yes. I mean, we've tried stuff which some people wouldn't agree with, but actually it's returned good value, and that is we've actually put pricing on some of the landing pages. So already the clients have come along to it. They see furniture from, let's say, £10,000. Then people normally won't click that if they don't have that sort of money. But so it already is trying to impart people that have that, potential to spend. They go in there. So Tom, we try a number of things to make that brand, appeal to the sector of people that want to follow that through.
Do you do any A/B testing as well on ads, guys?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do for sure. Yes.
How important is that then?
One of the most important parts. When I have to, or my team, speak with the client or the customer's marketing director, manager, etc. You only know what you know. So when you're running sort of just one particular campaign, then the info is simply singular. So we always try another one at the same time, so we can see the data and really sort of understand what's working on one, what's not working on the other, but also buying another set of campaigns, taking the best of both. And even those become A/B. And yes, some of that marketing spend is being used by the customer, but they're fully aware because we do ask them, look, we could go down a singular route and put all our money in these campaigns without having A/B, but we do suggest spending a small amount, just having another side to it, just to get some feedback. And typically, the companies we deal with will always say, yes, let's spend a little bit on a secondary just to see how that flows.
It's quite funny as well. If you're working with, I don't know if you do this, Darren, but if you're working with two companies from the same industry, no campaign works, does it, for both? So you can have a campaign you think works for Joe, and you think, all right, Frank, I'll do the same campaign for him as well. It doesn't work, does it? It's different results.
No, it is.
You've got a winning formula, but it doesn't. It's different all the time.
And you know what?
We find that from a website point of view. You could do two web. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go on, Darren.
No. I was going to say, even the football this Sunday is going to, whatever the score will change people's perceptions, how they actually go online, what their feelings are like, and that dictates again. It's skewed. Everything's different, like you say. Sorry, Tom, I'm going to stop now. I have a habit of gabbling on.
No, you're right. I was about to say something very similar. You'll find that from a website point of view, you could create two different websites for two different people selling the exact same product with the exact same USPs, on paper identical, but because of their branding and the way they approach it, you'll end up with two very different sites, two very different sets of messaging, even though the end goal is ultimately the same from the customer point of view. So it does all come down to the company and that kind of approach and how they sell themselves as much as anything as well.
Yeah, 100%.
So has anyone got any questions for these experts online? If you have, just leave a comment in the box below. So, but From your experience, then, Derek, if you can answer this question, what challenges does some of the brands you work with have? If you can't answer that, I'll push it on to Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I work with some clients, and for most of the brands I work with, like when they analyzing return on ad spend, like it's very easy when you run advertising on just one platform, like Facebook and TikTok only. But the problem will come when you run advertising on multiple platforms like TikTok and Facebook at the same time, or Google and Facebook at the same time. So when you face that, like they will feel everything is quite complicated, like where the traffic comes from, where the customer touch point happening in the website. So it's quite hard, but they find ways into right now. There's one of the like suitable solution is that if you guys already heard about GA4, that is Google Analytics, they help us to understand where the traffic come from, the touch point, and also where the conversions come from, the most important one. Yeah, so besides that, I think now people is finding another like the third-party solutions like True Whales, NotBeams, and Wicked Reports is very famous in the market. So I also want to hear us more about like, do you guys face the same problem, and what is the solution you are trying to find?
Wow. Tom, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, as I said, the multi-channel side of things is interesting. So we probably, because we're more involved in the CRO and the conversion and kind of average order value side of things, we probably come at it from a slightly different angle. The way we tend to approach it, so in Shopify, you could have one product template that's got like multiple views on it. So we tend to tailor the content depending on where they're coming from. So if someone's coming from a Google Shopping ad, it will probably be something that's more like a traditional kind of product look and feel. If they're coming from something like a Reddit ad or a TikTok ad where there's a bit more of a story behind it that's kind of led up to that kind of click, you can probably actually tweak that layout a little bit. So when they land on the page, you could have some more brand building stuff on there. You've maybe got some content at the top of the page that's relevant to the ad. So I suppose if they've clicked on an ad about a new range of cupcake flavors, the first thing you want to do is kind of see cupcake flavors before you get down to the actual product. So you've kind of got that consistency there. But I think from our point of view, using the same product template for everything, the same product but different templates means you've got one inventory set, you've kind of got one thing you're managing, but you can report on it depending on what platform it's kind of coming from as well. And if someone's landed on that link, they've only come via TikTok, they've only come via Reddit, so you've got that degree of consistency from a reporting point of view as well. I don't know how you work it from a multi-channel side of things, Darren, when you're reporting. Is that, I'm guessing, a bit of a headache?
It is very much so, and certainly, I mean, when dependent again on the types of products. If video is something which is going to propel that a lot more effectively because of what it is, and then yes, the spend, we will maneuver some of that through to the likes of YouTube, etc. But if it's really a case of everyone knows what it is, they don't need any more advanced branding or marketing to support it, then we would, typically that just goes through Google Shopping. They see it, they click it, and hopefully they buy it. So it really is dependent very much on what is the product, service, or what is the client trying to get out there. So yeah, we're working at the moment actually with another company, and they are quite a well-known producer of trumpets, and so with that in mind, we are putting a proportion of that budget across the likes of TikTok and the YouTube, and really because there's a vocal and visual side to it as well. Now, when it gets to the nitty gritty as yet, I don't know the results because we've only just been sort of running this for the last 2.5 months. So yeah, that's something I will be looking into as well, based on that question.
I'm guessing the more specialised specific you can be, the better as well. So we've got a client that sells plastic bags, and with all the best intentions in the world, plastic bags aren't the most interesting kind of product to sell on social media. Like doing a TikTok post about plastic bags is fairly sort of limited. But for them, things like Facebook and Facebook, Reddit, and Google Shopping works really well. It's quite a dry product. It's people are buying it because they need it, not because they want it or it's a desirable thing. It's very much I've got to buy that. I want it at the best price and the best quality. It's a very different kind of mentality. So I think more is not always necessarily better when it comes to advertising on these sorts of things, and focusing in is probably a good first step.
Yeah, no, again, agreed. Another company, container company, my word, it's just about 10 years. He's been not 10 years, about 7 years he's been a client, and he simply sells Tupperware. And this could be and this is really for schools, hospitals. They get these tubs, they fill it with bits and pieces, but it's done in a way which is, I don't remember the exact phrases, but there's 0 point something air, which means that it's sterile, and because of that, they can then hold sandwiches or bits and pieces within an environment that they can later use. And he himself said it's all for him repeat business, because it wasn't for me or my wife at home buying this Tupperware, because it's quite expensive compared to your standard Tesco's, but it fits the purpose. So when we did the campaign, the purpose was, well, who are your clients? So let's not waste money across the broad spectrum. Let's target this, and that's really, again, a lot of the pluses is getting that target right and getting the return based on repeat business, which is something that he's very much into, I can assure you.
Yeah, with all the best intentions in the world, if you run an ad campaign that gets 1 million visits to your site, but there's 1 million wrong people, that conversion rate is still going to be really, really low. There's a bit of an ego in the numbers sometimes, and actually less but more focused numbers means more conversions or more chance of getting them to buy something on the site. So it's
absolutely.
I'm guessing from a costing point of view, the more specialized and specific you can be, the cheaper it probably is as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is why, really, when we put together our own sort of quotations, tenders, solutions, I know companies that are very quick to get a tender out. They speak to the client, and before you know it, there's a quote in their email the same day. Really, if you're going to do this properly, you've got quite a bit of groundwork to cover and understand the clients and the needs of the clients and those that are searching for the clients. And once we've understood that, then we can put something more sort of tangible together and something more specific. So it saves a lot of heartache if you get the actual stuff done right at the start. And even then, no campaign is perfect at the start. That's why we got people always optimizing it. So yes, there are automated software programs out there, of course, which aid that, and you can use that if you want. But really, it's all about making, it can be, like we said before, deception. The football, we lose on Sunday, no one's going to be buying a yellow bright shirt because they don't feel very happy. So, we see this all the time, and always rather lower numbers, higher conversion for sure.
Football on Sunday. What's happening on Sunday?
Oh, I heard a rumor that we were playing England. Is that right?
I think it might be, in the final, and it's finally coming home. But
finally,
finally coming home.
Maybe.
Thanks for your input. It's been really interesting to kind of hear. I remember, because my background is in marketing as well, and SEO, and it's kind of going back to the days really where I used to try and optimize some websites that were not the most interesting subjects, and it's like, how do I get people interested in coming to the website talking about whatever it was? I remember you said at the start of the call, Tom, that one of your clients sells sellotape. I mean, how do you make that exciting? It's just a product, but and online it must be so competitive online as well. If you were to go to Google and type in sellotape, there must be millions of kind of searches. So how do you get someone to land on your website when there's millions of others as well? It must be quite challenging, really.
Yeah, see, for them, they've gone down more the expertise kind of route. So, although say sellotape, that probably does them a disservice. Say sellotape that you can use in garages, it's used in aeronautics and all sorts. So they've gone down the other end. They still kind of service the sort of the end user and the people like us that just need a couple of rolls of sellotape, but they've got rolls of tape that are kind of cut to measure into specific things that are like £200-300 each. They're very, very specialist, but I think for them, focusing on that side of things kind of improves the reputation for the cheaper end of things as well. So even though you're only buying a roll of box standard sellotape, these guys sell stuff that goes on spaceships. So you've kind of, that confidence is there already. You know, they know what they're talking about.
It's a little bit more than just a tape, sellotape I use for like Christmas to wrap up a present. It's a bit more to it.
Or just stick my photograph on the wall because I'm terrible at DIY. Yeah, you know, exactly what you're saying.
Excellent. So next kind of question I've got really is that what do your brands want when it comes to kind of ROAS? What's the most important aspects that they want when they start engaging with your companies, all of you? And I'll go with Darren again for that one, for the first answer.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is, and normally this is when, if they've been burnt in the past, this comes up, but so we're typically, we're not the first company they've ever worked with. They've worked with others. And the first question I always get, and I get, CEOs look at me, deadpan, and they say transparency. They really want to see full transparency, which, for what it's worth, I'm absolutely in agreement with. And that comes down to, they've got a block of money they're spending, let's say with Google, we've got a management fee. So let's not get the two mixed. And with that, and this is where Derek's software actually was, I think, brilliant on point, is then seeing very clearly whereabouts is the return coming from, which platform did they go to and purchase from, where's the data, and not done in a way that's so complicated, you need to be a scientist to understand it, but really bringing it down to its basics. And I call it the Alan Sugar technique, which is, you got £1,000, I want to see 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 return. Let's not make it complicated. So that's the first thing, full transparency. The other, and this is probably very general, so forgive me, but it's actually not just taking on the campaign and then going quiet, because believe me, they've had companies like that before. But this is continually working with them and their teams, continually communicating, because, as I say, this car company that we've been fortunate and lucky to win is a big one, and they have got stuff going on all the time. They're in different areas of the UK, so each one of them is doing their own internal marketing, and we need to know this. So we communicate literally all the time to work out what we need to do to keep in step with their own marketing, and vice versa. So the two main things are transparency, for sure, and communication. And of course, the third thing is obvious, and that is making sure that they're getting that return that we have actually suggested they should be getting based on the campaigns we run. And that's really the three fundamentals, Simon.
It's like, again, it's kind of going back to my days as well of doing online marketing. And when someone approaches you first off, and to go to Darren again, have they typically got a bad taste, have they, in their mouths?
Yeah.
Because
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. It's the truth. It's a shame. And it's though everybody now is either a web designer, and I'm sure Tom knows this. How much is your e-commerce, Tom? Tom says this. They like, oh my God, might make John in the pub do it for a £5. Or you're a marketing expert, or you are suddenly you're able to create apps because for whatever reason there's a app development toolkit out there. Everyone's an expert, and unfortunately, companies have bought into this. They've then, said to John in the pub, "Do my stuff." John's let them down. They've got a bad taste. So, yes, and you do pay for what you get, and I know that's an old saying, but it's so blimmin' true. And I've made mistakes. I've gone to Amazon, bought the cheapest walkie-talkie that my daughter wanted. She couldn't even talk to her mate a meter away. That's my mistake, So it's the same with clients as well. We're always going in, it seems, at the defensive posture. But I'm pleased to say that I think, not me personally, but how my team comes across, and when we do show data, we do show statistics, we do show an understanding. Before we sign the dotted line, we've already sort of understood their business, and we do delve in deep because every client is so different, and every director or MD is so different too, and we've just got to get it right. So that's really it, Simon. We want to make sure we do the right thing and we do the very best we can, and that's how we like to operate.
From our point of view, that's one of the things we quite like working about with Darren, because I suppose historically we work with a lot of clients that have already got SEO teams or PPC teams or marketing teams, and you end up in this weird, the marketing team, the SEO team has said they've put 10,000 people through, but that's not converted. And you end up with them saying it's our fault, us saying, well, it's the wrong traffic. And you end up this weird kind of disparity where every team's kind of blaming someone else and saying that their bit's perfect, it's everyone else's problem. Whereas with Darren, it's always just a quick jump on the phone call. It's like, right, we've got this working. What can we do in the site to improve this? Or the site seems to be working well. Can we tweak the traffic? And there's a bit more of a two-way conversation, trying to work out what the best solution for the client is, rather than pointing fingers and trying to work out who's done what where.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
We've got a question as well that's just popped up. Can we all see it? Can we? Hello, everyone. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the key KPIs for evaluating the success of cross-channel advertising campaigns. I mean, there are often unnoticed errors in cross-channel marketing data measurements that brands need to be aware of.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my I have experienced it. Like when you runs advertising on multiple platforms, especially cross-channel advertising campaigns like TikTok and Facebook and Google at the same time. So you cannot only rely on some basic metrics like traffic and return on ad spend on each channel. You have to focus on the return ad spend overall, like how many you spend on all the channel, all the marketing channel, and how many you get back from that. And beside that, I also think that when merchants, and especially e-commerce merchants, runs advertising on multiple platforms, they have to understand that how the values marketing channel brings to the table, like Facebook, Google, and TikTok, like how many percent they are affecting to their business result. So I think that when merchants want to solve these problems, they have to use some type of solutions software. So like CA4 and attribution software like Chipwell, or maybe also we have the solution in the same market can help users to understand the journeys of customers go to the website and how marketing channel affect to the business result. So how do you guys think?
Yeah, I always find it's a tricky one, and certainly we've run a few e-commerce sites ourselves over the years, and what we tend to find is all the different channels want to claim all the traffic and all the conversions for themselves. So if they've looked at TikTok at any point in the past, it's a TikTok conversion, whereas Google will claim it for them and Twitter for them.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Everyone kind of wants it for themselves. Whereas things like the NestScale platform, you're actually taking all that data and looking at the data as a whole. You're kind of looking across all the channels at once, which I think gives you a much truer kind of picture. And there might be some overlap in places, but you're getting a better overall view, I think.
Yeah. I think that the unnoticed errors the audience is talking about is very the same to your ideas, Tom's. Like when the customer come into the website, maybe the traffic can come from anywhere. So in the first day they click on advertising on TikTok, but 2 or 3 days behind that they click on Facebook. So sometimes both of them takes the credit. So you need to understand that actually how many percent they bring to the table. So maybe 50-50 for TikTok and Facebook, but maybe just TikTok just brings a little bit awareness. So you can just give them like 20% of the orders value. So Facebook take 80. So that is why when you have more data, like customer journey data, attribution data, you can understand more about how you can like split the percents of attributions for each channel.
Thank you. Yes. So Claire's just asked a question, so I'll let you read it and answer it, perhaps, Tom.
Yeah, quick wins for CRO. So apart from, I suppose the first thing that affects almost every site, and it's probably the page speed side of things. So making sure the site loads as quickly as possible. I think whether it's e-commerce, non-e-commerce, that's just kind of standard across the internet now. Most of the traffic on the internet is kind of mobile based now, so it's probably more important than ever to make sure everything's kind of running sort of as fast as possible.
Yeah, speed is the main thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I think I think as the internet kind of gets faster, people's attention span's getting less and less, and the amount of time someone's willing to wait for a page to load and actually be able to interact with it is proportionally kind of going down as well. We tend to find the younger someone is, the faster and quicker they expect something to be as well. I think people of our generation are probably used to waiting 30-40 seconds for a page to load and kind of seeing pictures load up one line at a time, but it's
kids have got no patience, have they?
It's I was trying to explain, I don't know if you remember WAP sites. I was trying to explain WAP to someone a while ago, and it's a really hard kind of concept to get across.
Yeah, I remember WAP.
It was the future at one point, wasn't it?
The future that didn't happen.
The calls to action
speed
as well. Speed combined with the calls to action. I think calls to action, I think the superficial and the look and feel sometimes kind of takes over. So if you've got a black and white site, you'll end up with a black and white button, which kind of blends in with the rest of the site, and just little things like making sure that button kind of really stands out makes a huge difference.
Bright orange, yellow or something, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be like a luminous pink and sort of really in your face, but just different enough from everything around it so you see it, you know what it is. If you can make that sticky so it's always on screen at the same time, then all the better. It's always that one kind of click away from being able to purchase. Shopify in particular has the quick buy button. So with Shopify, you've got an add to cart, which does the normal kind of adds to cart. You can add multiple items to the cart and check out. With the quick buy buttons, it's a one-click checkout. So you tend to end up with two quite powerful CTAs on screen at the same time, but it's almost putting the emphasis on the one you want people to do. So the quick buy buttons are great for those single purchase products. If someone's buying £150 pair of trainers, they're not necessarily going to be buying 2 or 3 pairs of trainers at a time in that sort of situation. So those quick buy buttons do make a lot of sense. If it's something like the pack of socks, actually, you might want them to buy 4 or 5 pairs of socks to kind of get that average order value up, in which case the emphasis on the add to cart probably makes more sense because you get multiple products and more chance to kind of guide them around the site rather than just pushing them into that kind of checkout process.
Good, yeah, thank you.
I was going to say the other thing is just checking the language. I know with Shopify in particular, it's an Americanized kind of platform, so you end up with a lot of Americanisms in there. So things talking about like zip codes and things like that. So just lurking through the site and just checking the language and making sure it feels local.
And not to chat GPT, more of a tongue, a natural tongue, maybe, yeah.
ChatGPT is a weird one. It's massively valuable, and we use it a lot, to be fair. But it's very rare I'll take something from ChatGPT and just drop that on a website and use as is. It's always kind of a starting point. You almost kind of take the good bits, you kind of edit it down, put it into your own language, your own tone of voice, and kind of use it as a starting point. I think that lift and shift from ChatGPT to your website it's not quite there yet, I don't think.
It's a good start, though, isn't it?
Definitely a good start. I think with all these things, starting with some things easier than a blank sheet. That blank sheet's a horrible starting point, I think.
Definitely, yeah. So we got another question as well. Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you very much, Claire, as well. So I think this one is going to go with Darren. For an e-commerce brand looking to execute paid advertisement for the first time ever, what campaign objective would you suggest we test?
Yes, well, yeah, I mean, that question is, well, I know the answer, but I'd like to come back to Jonathan because it's actually quite a detailed response. And the head of my team has always said a traffic campaign, Jonathan. Now, I mean, one of the reasons I know, and there are many reasons, is about data collection and understanding the audience. And this is something that I was actually informed myself. But there is so much more to it. And if that's okay with the team, that question itself actually has a number of nuances. And if Jonathan's happy, I would love to come back and produce a report that we produced based on that very question.
Thank you, Darren. If anybody else has got any kind of quick questions for the team, feel free to leave a comment in the box as well, and we'll do our best to answer them. So moving on, I suppose, then to the next kind of like question as well, is that maybe this is for, I don't know, anyone, I guess, but in terms of like platforms and which produces the best results as well, are there any like platforms or technology maybe that, Tom, that you use currently?
It really does vary depending on the brand, to be fair. One of my favorites is probably the Reddit side of things, but it is a lot more time intensive. So when you're running kind of ads and things like that on Reddit, you probably want the conversations and the engagement in the different Reddits themselves. So there's a lot more value that comes out the back of it, but there's a lot more effort that kind of goes into it, and a lot more time to actually be there and have those kind of conversations. For us, being quite e-commerce focused, Google Shopping is kind of a no-brainer. Certainly for a lot of those kind of lower to sort of mid-value products, Google Shopping is always going to be a great starting point for a lot of people. It's nice, it's easy, it's built into all the browsers by default. You do a search on Google, you see the shopping results up at the top anyway. It's a perfect starting point, whether you're shopping on price or it is for things like furniture. It's just a quick way for people to see a lot of products very, very quickly, kind of irrelevant of the brand, really.
Fantastic. So anything from yourself, Darren, in terms of like platforms that you would suggest?
Yeah, I mean Tom sort of nailed it really. In terms of e-commerce, we've always gone with Google Shopping as the main form because we can run various sort of campaigns. I mean, I think some of you guys already know about PMAX, and that's something that we also do. So we're using automation to try and produce the best quality scoring to get the best return. But again, it really does boil down. So if it's a service, for example, and we're promoting companies that have various franchises in different parts of the UK, we will actually sort of run sort of Facebook ads as well, especially if it's a service-based system, i.e. care, or someone needs their car MOT, because again, people share information on Facebook. They typically see an ad because they've gone somewhere on Facebook already. That has quite a decent effect. But when it comes to a product, an actual physical product to purchase, for us, Google all the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the next part of our session is an overview of NestScale and the applications that Derek and his team have developed to help brands with their ROAS. So are you okay to show us some screens and some quick demo of your application?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That, but before I jump into the sharing about our solutions, like I really want to answer the last questions because let me be honest that so at this time. So when you run the advertisings, and also not just advertisings, when you like run every marketing campaign on any marketing channel. So now one of the most important things that you have to have more data about traffic, about everything is going on your marketing campaigns, and how the people is coming into your website. So how you can understand more about that and optimize that based on the data-driven decisions instead of just like guessings. So that is one of the most important platform that we always try to suggest our users, suggest our client right now. So that is also our solution that we are trying to develop and spread this solution to agencies and users. Yeah, so maybe I can have some minutes to share a little bit about our solution. So you guys and also the audience on the live session can understand that how we can have Shopify merchants to improve their performance on marketing. Yeah.
Please, yeah.
So, yeah, so maybe you guys see my screen, right? Yeah, so like I said, I said before that the problem now is that when merchants run advertising on multiple campaigns, multiple platform, they face some problem that they don't know what is going on their website. So we are trying to jump in and solve that question by our own pixel. And when customers use our pixels, they have the data from every advertising platform. Like if you guys see your screen, that will be the TikTok, Google, and Facebook, and also with organic and direct source. And instead of just like see the only one traffic from one platform, you guys can see like all the traffic from all the platform at the same dashboard. So with the same, you can smooth to like the campaign level. You can see every campaign of every channel, and when you want to keep going into the ads group and the ads level, you can also see that. And the most important and interesting thing here, so with the platform, you cannot see the actual order which is attributed to the campaigns, but with our platform, you can see that a little bit more information, like what is the orders here and how much is the order value, and also the customer journey too. Yeah, so more data and you could have more decisions with like smartly, and I think that is 100% true. Yeah. So the second one will be that like when you guys run advertising, you want to see that the interaction between the campaigns platform, and so when that, for example, so when you guys can have the interaction between the platform here, if you can see on screen, you can see the interaction between the Facebook, TikTok, and Google at the same time, and how are they like interact each other. Like for example, the journey that I just said before, the customers go into the website via TikTok and Facebook, but you cannot understand the full picture if you don't have the data related to that. So with this type of solution, you can understand that how they are coming to the website, what is the first click, and after that, what action do they take, and they move to the next like actions like Facebook ads and finally take purchase. So with this report, you can understand more. So in conclusions, like when you have more data, you will have more decisions, so master and like more accurate. Yeah. So for now, you can have any question about how the attribution software can have, and especially our solution.
So I find that view really interesting, and it's nice from, I suppose we're focusing more on the on-site kind of experience, but it's nice sort of seeing, well, actually, someone from TikTok tends to add to cart within 1 or 2 clicks, whereas someone from Facebook, there might be 6, 7 clicks through the site, and Google Shopping might be 1 or 2 clicks, and it kind of falls into that how you treat people once they've landed on the site again, and it's a nice overview to have, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Stat, for the ideas. That because as you see, so I think it's quite like relate to your service to Tom, because when you have the when you want to improve your CLs on the website, when you like, for example, when you edit your website, you optimize everything, and you want to know that if that is out, like how the journey is on the website is going on. So it's also help you to understand that maybe our action just bring the good value to the visit result.
Good, yes. We have a question as well from Cecilia. Thank you very much, Cecilia. She's asking, which attribution models do you guys recommend using for agencies and stores that run ads on multiple platforms?
Yeah. Darren, do you want to go first?
I was going to say, I mean, that's a really good question, because again, a big response required, because it would be good to know the type of agency or the type of e-commerce company. But basically, I would always say start simple, Cecilia. I mean, we will always look at a last click or a first click model, because there's so many other types of attribution points you can put in. Just get the data first, and then trial out the others, as opposed to going straight into some of the more complex attributes out there. Because again, just go for simplicity and see what data you get, and then start potentially going down other attribution levels to see what you get.
Yeah. Same like I have same experience with Darren's. Like when you just start your advertising campaigns, so you don't have enough data to understand how you can use the data to optimize. But like, so at first time you just want to use like last click or first click is like very suitable and basics one for you to start. So but like when you like have more data, so especially runs multiple campaigns on multiple platforms, you have more data, you have everything coming into your like the website, into your database. So I think it's come to time that you want to use another attribution model. So for example, the linear attribution model. And also I think now some guys want to find the data-driven attribution model, for example. So I think if is in my opinion, so when you just start, just use first click and last click is still enough. But when you have more data, you have to use more like linear data-driven attribution model. And of course, if you guys want to test it out, like we also have some different attribution models on the platform also. And I think it's
Thank you. So we had another question as well coming in from, I think her name is pronounced, the name is pronounced Kang, maybe. So they're using WordPress and WooCommerce, and they want to know how to improve the page load speed, and should they consider to use Shopify? Well, I think really, I mean, I could answer that a little bit, and then maybe that's for you, perhaps Tom. But if you have a look at maybe your images, perhaps as well, and see if how big they are, maybe you can convert them to WebP files. If you've got lots of images with lots of files, maybe look at using a CDN. There are some quite good plugins available that allow you to kind of bolt in to use like a CDN, perhaps a kind of Cloudflare maybe as well. I have a couple of websites that they were loading quite slowly as well. I've converted the files to WebP, and I'm now using a CDN to load my images, and the page speed is much quicker. But that will only going to take you so far, and then Shopify, it's a different ballgame, isn't it, Tom? So perhaps you want to take over from there.
We're obviously very biased towards Shopify, so take everything we kind of say with a pinch of salt, 'cause it is going to be very kind of Shopify focused. But I suppose the reality is, I wouldn't, if page speed was your only reason for moving to Shopify, it wouldn't probably be worth it just for that. Like you say, you can optimize WordPress, you can look at the images, you can look at the size of the files, the structure, and even the hosting. Getting faster hosting and things like that can actually make a big difference. If you're on some sort of entry level hosting, it's not going to be the quickest, whereas having your own VPN and things like that will have a big impact. I suppose it's worth saying with Shopify, having Shopify doesn't guarantee a fast website. It still comes down to the themes you're using, how those themes are working. If you've got a really fast Shopify theme, but you've still got 42 apps that are kind of loading up on every page for you, that's still going to end up in a slow site. So just having Shopify doesn't guarantee a fast website. You've still got to do Shopify right, if that makes sense. Page speed is important. I think there is an element of being fast enough as well. I think you get to a certain point where if you're optimizing your site and you've kind of got everything into, so on the web search console, page speed insight, sorry, if you got those results, it doesn't necessarily mean everything has to be green, but if you've got everything into those oranges and you get a decent page load speed, there is a point where investing too much time and effort into getting past that point doesn't have the ROI on that. So it's working out at what point you've done enough to kind of satisfy that conversion rate and things like that as well.
Yeah. I used to use something called Pingdom. Is that still used by you guys, or is there something else that's much better now?
We use a lot of different tools, to be fair. So what we tend to find is, I mean, the Google PageSpeed Insights, that's what Google uses when it's looking at its ranking and its Core Web Vitals and things like that. So ultimately, that's kind of what you've got to make happy. In between that, we use Pingdom a lot. We use GT metrics, and we use a lot of local kind of testing as well. For Shopify in particular, there's a Chrome plugin called Shopify Theme Inspector, where you can actually look at how the liquid files themselves are rendering. So you've got like time to first byte, which is how long it takes a web page to start loading. So the simpler your liquid loops and things like that are, the quicker those templates are built and the quicker it loads. So there isn't one tool that does everything. So you end up kind of using sort of 4 or 5 different tools and kind of working out the best results kind of across all of them really. Certainly for WordPress and Shopify, the apps are probably the biggest impact. Well, apps and images. Images are a good sort of easy fix. Like so you can use things like, well, if you're on a Mac, there's an app you can download called Image Optim, which just kind of strips out all the unneeded information thing. For PC, I think there's a website called TinyPMG where you can just upload your images, and again, it kind of compresses things like that before you add them to the website as well. It's one of those, if you're uploading an optimized image to a CDN, which is then optimizing the image, you end up with a much smaller image rather than loading a big image and then just letting the CDN try and do the optimization. But yeah, apps, just make sure you're using the apps you need. There's a lot of apps that get added to sites and kind of forgotten about, so people will add it, trial it, not come back to
Don't like it.
kind of forget it's on there. Yeah. So yeah, just have a bit of an app review. Is it the best one you're using? Do you need it? Get rid of it if not, because it does all have an impact.
It's same.
Sorry, Simon. I was going to say on the Pingdom thing, that relates very heavily. We use that extensively. So if a client is having their own landing pages that we're working on, so they're hosting them externally, we will have a Pingdom set up for them and us. Because sometimes it does go down and we need to say, look, guys, you had a slight drop because your end was down, but also vice versa. We want to make sure that they know that if we're hosting or doing a campaign, having landing pages set up across our own network, that we're on point too. So again, full transparency, and we found Pingdom to be very good at that. So sorry to interrupt you, Simon.
No, thank you, Dan. I was just going to say when I used to. My agency put together like WordPress websites. We used to be handed websites with, I mean, there was one site that had over 100 plugins, and half of them were used. And he was moaning about it was running slow, and like, why don't you just remove some of your plugins that you don't need, and it might make a difference. It's just crazy that people just install a plugin, try it for a few minutes, don't like it, but leave it. But that's still there in the database loading up, isn't it? So take it off.
Yeah, it is the nature of these platforms where it becomes a bit more self-service. I think there is that element of, so Shopify is probably a good example because there's a lot of stuff you can build into Shopify. If you can code, you can create your own functionality and kind of add it in there. But you're looking at the cost of coding, the cost of kind of creating this. It might be sort of £500-600 to create a specific layout, or you've got an app for $3 a month that will do something very similar. And in the short term, that $3 app probably sounds really appealing. But like you say, $3 forevermore, that cost does kind of add up over time. But the impact on page speed and the conversion rates can have a big difference. And it's finding that balance, because there are some things where if you're looking at an app and going, you know what, it's going to take 6 months to rebuild this app and build it directly into the site, then in which case actually the $10 a month probably makes more sense rather than trying to recreate the wheel. So there's a tipping point for when an app starts making sense and when you don't need an app, and it's just working out what that tipping point in the value is for you, I suppose. What is that $3 going to mean to your business?
I've got a question actually for Derek, and it's a little bit perhaps kind of technical, but for your app as well, how do you build the app, and do you build it with speed in mind, or what's your app built on? I know that there's another vendor that I know that performance and speed is the most important thing, how they built their app. Beyond that, I don't know too much. But tell us about the process, about development. You're on mute, Derek.
So sorry. So I think because it's a little bit technical, so I will try to jump into what is most important to the merchants, to the business guy. So when we try to start our solution, we try, because our solution is a tracking and the attribution solution. So the most important thing that I have to improve the tracking data. So when we find out that Shopify is also care about that. So Shopify also launched the solution related to Shopify Pixel, but it's just the basics one. So but Shopify encourage every developers to use this technology to develop more. So we are one of them. So we are trying to integrate with Shopify, use every technology behind Shopify, and develop our own pixel and make that suitable to your Shopify merchant. So the process behind that is very, very hard to develop the right solution at the first time, because every touch point as customers on the website is very hard to track that, because you have to make it very privacy compliance is the first priorities. And the second one is that you try to browse the website with different times, different device. So you have to track them from mobile to desktop, and again they come back to mobile to finally take a purchase. So we have to do something to keep follows the customer, keep follows the visitor with different device, different website. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a really good session. Has anybody got anything before we look to kind of wrap things up? We're just conscious of the time now. Has anybody got anything else that they'd like to suggest and bring forward, or maybe for the people that are watching, have you got any other kind of questions that you'd like to ask the panel? Just leave a comment, Darren.
Yeah, just a quick one from Jonathan's question. And again, another good question, but it goes back to the one I mentioned earlier. So, Jonathan, you mentioned about targeting, custom, broad targeting, detailed. So all I would say is, again, it's all about data. Everything's about knowing your data. So really, what you want to do is go for broad, get that data, and then work out, do you then, or can you use that for the others? Because again, don't ever do it all at once, because you're never going to know, and you'll waste a lot of money. Just start off simple, use that data, and see how effective you become. It's a short answer, but it's the one that we use ourselves.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
Thank
from an
you.
on-site point of view, following on from that as well, there's a free platform called Clarity it's by Microsoft. We always use that as a great starting point when we're working sort of brand new to a site, first time working with someone. You can integrate it with Google Analytics, and you can actually see recordings and heat maps of how people are using the site. So it's down to that data. And if you're wanting to know how to improve your site, understanding how people are using it now is going to give you a great starting point for that. If it's a brand new website, just get people onto it. The more people you can get to it, the better. It kind of gives you the data and that starting point to kind of grow everything from.
Can you put a link in the comments, please? Tommy, you okay with that?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Derek, have you got anything that you'd like to? One last final plug. Have you got anything you'd like to say, Derek?
Yeah, I see that Chloe has the questions about how do you guys think customer journey tracking can have making strategies to increase that. Let me answer a little bit about these questions. That because when you just I think that overview guy when you just see the numbers only, yes, how many conversion is created, how many conversion is attributed to campaigns, you can only see just one small part of the full picture. So when you see the customer journey, just Tom just mentioned, like the heat maps on the website. So when you see small data like heat map and customer journey between the platform, you can understand more about how the customer is interacting with your website and how everything is going on. So it will help you to make decisions better, because when you have more data, you can know more about how I can make the right decision instead of just see the numbers only and just make the decision based on the numbers only.
It makes it less personal as well. I think when most people start a new website, it's a very personal thing. It's about what you like and what you want on your website rather than what your customers want to a degree. I think once you've got the data there, the personal side of things kind of comes out of it. It's a black and white. Well, actually, doing this improves that. So it's not about what I want. It's about what's needed.
That's right. So that's why you want to understand more about your customer, your audience on the website. But when you want to know more about that, you have to have more data. So tracking solution and also the heat map and Clarity from Microsoft, it's also a good tool too. Yeah.
Just a very, very quick one, and I promise you, Simon, it's to be very, very quick. But the question which is it Kang Lee mentioned? One recommendation is this, Kang. We work with a care company across the UK, and they had terminology called domiciliary care, and no one knows that word. Okay, so when we were trying to get a better ROAS, we really had to work out what customers were typing, as opposed to what they, as the owner of the company, their terminology was brilliant, but not what people type. So one thing I would suggest you look at is, what does your actual clients, what do they want to see, not the terminology that the experts use. Make it simple. That becomes, it just works. Simplicity. Okay.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, Darren. That's been a great session, really informative. I've actually learned a few things, or lots of things, myself personally as well. I'd like to thank you all, Derek, Darren, and Tom, and also for the people that have watched us and have asked some questions as well. So feel free to leave some more questions in the comments below. And I think Darren, Tom, I think you perhaps, and Derek, you've all got some action points that you to kind of follow up maybe on some people that have left comments.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah,
absolutely.
So what I like to do is, when I end these sessions, I like to do one final kind of plug, really. So if you got, this could be about you personally, it could be about hoping England will win on Sunday, it could be about your agency, it could be about anything. So Darren, have you got a final plug?
Well, if anyone wants to ask me other questions, find me on LinkedIn, of course, Darren Ernie. Drop me the questions, and I will promise you I'll come back to you. But maybe I might need a day or two because some of those questions are quite good, quite technical. But yeah, please come to me and I'll reply. Thank you so much for having me on, Simon.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Derek, final plug?
Yeah. So I think for now and also in the future, so everything will become more complicated too, and the data is one of the most important thing you guys need to collect and you guys need to understand. Of course, privacy compliance is the most important thing, but yeah, just please understand more about the clients behind by the understand and have more data. So if you guys have any questions about how that the driving decision can help you improve the performance, yeah, just inbox me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to answer.
Perfect. Thank you, Derek. Tom?
Yeah, very similar. We're obviously very Shopify focused. So if anyone's got any questions about CRO or integrating sort of tracking and things like that with Shopify, give us a shout. It's worth mentioning because it's our 15th year kind of been around this year. In August, we're actually going to be running sort of a series of discounts, including like a 15% offer to celebrate being 15. So yeah, if anyone wants to take advantage of that, give us a shout.
Perfect. That sounds very good and very, very kind as well. It'd be to offer. I've got no plug. So apart from England, I'm plugging for them on Sunday. So I'm really looking forward to that. But no, thank you very much, guys. And maybe we can organise a second session in the future as well, which was requested by Claire. So, but no, it's been thank you and thanks again, everyone. And until the next time.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you.
See you guys again. Yeah, see you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, guys.